Welcome back. At issue today, technology used for good. 12-year-old Cameron Cohn needed surgery on his leg. He spent 10 days in the hospital and about half a year recovering. Normally a very active kid, sitting around with nothing to do was tough. So Cameron created iSketch, an application for his itouch with a portion of the proceeds going back to the hospital where he had the surgery. And Skyping us from LA is Cameron Cohn. Welcome to the show, Cameron.
Hi.
Tell me, when did you first sort of get interested in your iTouch?
I had my iTouch about 5 months or 6 months before my original surgery, just for games and playing around with and fun and stuff.
What exactly is an iTouch? I have an iPhone here. What is an iTouch?
An iTouch is pretty much, you know what an iPhone is. It's pretty much an iPhone without now it has the camera with the new update, with the new iPod Touches Apple just released. But originally it was without a camera and without a phone and without texting or wireless data. So now it's pretty much just an iPhone that you can't use service anywhere, like an iPhone, and you can't call people without specific apps.
And when did you first start to notice there was a problem with your leg?
In the middle of March, kind of early to middle March, my leg was hurting a lot. And one day I could barely walk. It really hurt. So my mom took me into a bone specialist, when you break your leg and stuff. And he said he could see something wrong, but he didn't know what it was. And I'd had a bunch of MRIs and CAT scans and tests and stuff. And then we met with my doctor, who told me to my orthopedic surgeon, who told me that I had to have a biopsy and then my surgery.
And the surgery happened, and then you spent about 10 days in the hospital recovering.
Yeah.
What did you do with your time when you were sitting around the hospital waiting to recover?
I was fortunate enough. I had my computer and I had my iPod Touch, and I could I watched a few movies and I could play games to keep me distracted from my surgery and the pain I was in. Like games to play and movies.
And where does your interest in drawing come from?
I cannot draw, and in real life, I can't draw a circle or a line or a straight line or anything. But when you have an iPhone, and specifically or an iPod Touch, and if you're bored or you just want to have fun, it's really fun to just like doodle around when you don't need all these supplies to put everything together, and you can just draw some smiley faces and send to your friends and things like that. It's just really fun. So. And
the iTouch or iPhone has lots of applications for drawing. Why did you think it was necessary to create your own? Why couldn't you just download one that was already there?
I had a few on my iPod Touch that were free or $1, and I didn't like any of them. The interfaces weren't very good, or on many of them, they didn't have many features, and they were hard to use. So I looked around on the internet, and I tried to find the really good ones that were really intuitive and a lot of different features and fun to use. And they were all $5 to $10, and I didn't want to spend that for just a drawing program for fun. So I decided to create my own that could hopefully potentially be as good as those better drawing programs, but it'd be only $1, so a lot more people would have access.
Now, how do you create your own application? How did you do that?
It's using computer programming, using a language called Objective-C. So it's kind of like a written language that computers read in a way, and a specific language developed by Apple for Macs and iPhones. And I watched Stanford University classes from iTunes U and read a lot of books and documentation from Apple and just got really into it.
Did you ever think at some point that this is too advanced for you? I mean, you're quite young to do this.
I mean, it was hard. There was a lot of things that I need help with and stuff, and I found a lot of forums and people online that I could email if I had problems or like posts and stuff, and a lot of times they would help.
And you were doing this while you were basically recovering from your leg surgery?
Yeah, it was mostly when I was out of school and during that summer.
And what did you do with the application once you invented it?
Once I invented it, I submitted it to Apple almost right away, and it took like 3 weeks to get approved. And before I developed the app, I knew I wanted to do something to be able to help kids at the hospital that weren't as fortunate to have computers and iPods and stuff to keep them distracted. And then I submitted iSketch to Apple, and I saw like a lot of people buying it, and I started seeing money coming in, and I saw it as a perfect opportunity to be able to give back.
So explain that to me. How exactly does it work? You send it to Apple, and you decide how much it's going to cost?
Yeah, you can set the price, and you set everything about it. It's way better than a lot of other, in like a real life market. It's not just you show your product to Apple, they see if they like it, they decide the price, they pretend it's theirs, and then you don't get any credit for it. That's pretty much how every business works. But this is really Apple, you decide everything, you do all the marketing, and then Apple just puts your app on the App Store, and they take a 30% cut of the profits, which is actually pretty good because they have to make money to keep their expensive servers and stuff for the App Store. But you get 70% of the sales, and you get to do everything and market it as your own, so it's really good.
And why was it important to you to give back to the hospital? Why? I mean, you're 12 years old. I think you could probably come with lots of great ways to spend that money. Why did you want to give some back to the hospital?
I was really fortunate. I had my iPod Touch and my computer, and I knew how bad my surgery was, and that I would have been so much worse off if I didn't have other things to help me, to keep me kind of thinking away from that. And I could see a lot of other kids around me that just weren't that fortunate and had probably just were like focusing on their pain, and I felt really bad for them. So.
And how much money have you raised so far for the hospital?
I've raised $20,000.
How does that feel?
It feels really good.
And how would you like to see that money spent? Or how is that money being spent at the hospital?
The money's being spent currently, and I'm actually going to help start setting it up very soon, to buy computers and DVD players, iPads, iPod Touches, iPod Nanos, iPod Shuffles, iTunes gift cards for buying music, a lot of technology products to help keep kids kind of focused on other things.
As I'm sure you're well aware, a lot of parents have lots of concerns about this sort of technology, that kids spend too much time at computers and on their iPhone and texting and twittering. How would you, or tweeting, how would you respond to that people see this technology is not helpful in any way?
I completely disagree with that, because pretty much everything about technology is solely based on other things, including math and science and art for graphics, I suppose, or like everything in technology is based on other things that we do and help us improve. If there's anything that's more forward to our society for math and science specifically than technology and computers and programming, I really don't know what it is, because everything in computers and mobile phone and technology and computing and everywhere is all about making things work. That's pretty much the basic principle, and that's almost what everything in our life outside of computers is trying to make things work and succeeding successfully, and that's all you're doing with technology. So it's kind of it's just a way our society is advancing, and if we choose not to accept it, we don't really have the power to do anything else.
How would you like to see, because a lot of schools, for example, don't allow iPhones, they don't allow cell phones, they have lots of concerns about too much computer use. How would you like to see that taught to young people like yourself in school?
I can't disagree with them for not allowing cell phones and iPhones like during school, because they definitely want kids to socialize in real ways other than through like just playing games all day. But I think technology labs at school and having computer classes are extremely important, because it's a easy way and one of the most important ways for kids to learn how to be better with technology, and it's something that's so important to our society, is computers and knowing how to use them, that if we just teach kids earlier and more thoroughly, then everyone will be more advanced, and we can have more advanced things with our technology and everywhere.
And one last question. How is your leg? How are you doing now?
I can play I can do pretty much everything now, and hang out with my friends and play sports. So I'm doing really well.
I'm glad to hear that. And I guess you're an example of someone who's still very active and at the same time very interested in computing. If somebody wants to buy itouch and help out your cause, how can they do that?
To buy
iSketch. iSketch.
To buy iSketch, you can just go to the App Store or at iTunes on the computer, iTunes Store, and simply just search for iSketch. And you can read the description, see some screenshots to see if you're interested. And also, if you want to find more details, you can visit my website at www.cccdevelopmentllc.com, and you can get all the details.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time today. And I've just been playing with iSketch here on the phone. It's a great program. So thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Well, that's it for this edition of At Issue for Teens. You can go to our website, ichannel.ca, to watch this entire show online. Just click on At Issue for Teens. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and email your thoughts to comments@ichannel.ca. I'm Kevin O'Keefe. Thanks for watching.